Hello and welcome to Quick Charge. I'm Mikey G, and it's Saturday, December 30th. Tesla has leaked its Powershare mobile connector through its user manual, but it's so far unclear how it's different from Tesla's regular mobile connector. With the launch of the Cybertruck, Tesla announced its new Powershare bidirectional charging system. The new feature will enable Tesla vehicles, starting with the truck, to Powershare with other vehicles, a home, and other things. Now, the company says that the Powerwall owners already have the required hardware, and if not, you can use Tesla's universal wall connector and gateway products. But now it looks like Tesla is also planning hardware specifically for Powershare. Tesla released a user manual for something called Powershare Mobile Connector. Now, the name would imply that it enables bidirectional charging, but it's possible this feature hasn't been enabled quite yet. A Tesla Cybertruck just had a real-world crash for the first time, as people are trying to determine the level of safety of the electric truck. Now, the accident happened in Palo Alto and involved a Toyota Corolla, which lost control and got into the Cybertruck's lane, causing the crash. Now, the only reported injury was a minor one to the driver, who declined transportation to the hospital. So far, that's a good sign, considering that there were 3 people in the Cybertruck. Now, while observing the damage from the layman's perspective isn't terribly definitive for us, this very crash might come in handy for Tesla. Interestingly, it looks like the vehicle doesn't have a Foundation Series etching, which could mean that it's an employee vehicle. Now, that would mean that Tesla could acquire the unit and study it to see how it goes. According to a recent patent that was filed by the U.S. Patent Office and discovered by Electrek, it looks like Rivian is going for something that's kind of like a Tesla Powerwall. The patent shows an image of an electric vehicle hooked up to an energy storage device. The device can provide power to a home, a vehicle, a campsite, and more. It can be fixed in position or portable. At home, the device can provide energy to and from an electric vehicle or the grid. On the go, it can be used for powering lights, accessories, cooking, and entertainment. The device contains a battery pack that can send, receive, and store energy from the grid or the vehicle. So it's a lot of the same things for Powerwall, including the capability of connecting to a solar panel. I'm not really a patent expert, so I'm not sure how this is special or why it would deserve its own patent. You can let me know what you think. 2 months after Rivian started delivering electric vehicles with its long-anticipated Max battery pack, we're seeing our first real-world range comparisons to the other options from Rivian, and the results are okay. Really not that okay. Now, despite over 50 miles more for the EPA range compared to the Lard Pack, the first real-world test of the Max Pack shows a gap that is significantly lower. Kyle Connor and the team at Out of Spec Reviews took 2 Rivian R1Ts, one with the large pack and one with the not so well named larger Max Pack. Max Pack is the biggest, then there's large. Now, they put them through these same tests, and they found a difference of 22 miles. Now, for a cost difference of $10,000, that's a really difficult upsell. The Max Pack is actually the same physical size as the less expensive option, but it's just more energy efficient and energy dense. Now, while that's certainly impressive for the engineering team to attain better battery with the same footprint and weight, when rubber hits the road, it seems a little less compelling. Fisker's stock is going up after announcing EV deliveries climbed over 300% from last quarter. With 1,097 Ocean EVs sold in the third quarter, that suggests that Fisker delivered around 3,600 in the fourth quarter. Most of the EVs delivered were the Fisker Ocean 1 Launch Edition, starting around $70,000. Earlier this week, Fisker handed over their first Ocean Sport model, which features 231 miles of range and starts at under $40,000. So they're finally working their way down the totem pole. Fisker's stock was up around 20% on Friday following the news. Although Fisker is growing, the EV maker is still far from where they had expected to be at this time. Fisker initially said that they aim to produce 42,400 EVs this year. That was lowered to 32 or 36 in May, and then Fisker cut its production guidance to just over 10,000 earlier this month. Now, that target they did hit, reporting 10,142 EVs built in the year of 2023. The fallout from robotaxi company Cruise continues as now General Motors has just filed a lawsuit against San Francisco for $121 million. They're doing so for what they call unfair taxes and penalties. General Motors argues that San Francisco was unfairly tying its global revenue to Cruise's side of the business, tallying up a taxable bill of $3 billion last year alone, rather than a more modest figure generated by General Motors alone. Now, since 2016, when GM bought Cruise, which is headquartered in San Francisco, General Motors has paid $108 million in city taxes, plus $13 million in interest. And now the company is suing to get it back. General Motors has been hemorrhaging money from its big bet on Cruise, having lost $1.9 billion on expenses between January and September, and in addition to $732 million in a loss for the third quarter. The Cruise company has been in a nosedive since October 2nd, when a human-initiated collision led the autonomous vehicle to drag a pedestrian 20 feet before stopping. Cruise is facing a potential $1.5 million fine and additional sanctions over failure to disclose details about that accident. Japanese industry leaders, including Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Subaru, Panasonic, and 7 others, are teaming up to develop advanced vehicle software. They call it the Advanced SoC Research for Automotive, and that is one acronym they call ASRA. Now, the group will pool their talents and vast industry experience to develop in-vehicle chips by 2028. With Japan lagging behind in electrification, their rush for components has likewise suffered little urgency. Toyota has also been investing heavily in battery production, though they will also be using these in the many hybrids that they plan on selling. In today's community comment found on YouTube, Nixter1 says, "The quest for full self-driving continues. I bought my 2018 Tesla a few days before 2019. Elon said that full self-driving would be ready within 6 months. I doubted it then, but I knew it was a matter of time before it was finally realized. Now, years later, it seems to be years away. I think those who shell out thousands for the full self-driving package are not going to get what they paid for. If you are buying a new Tesla, wait until full self-driving is functioning before spending your money on a distant promise. On the other hand, if you enjoy playing around with the full self-driving beta and you don't mind paying for the incomplete feature, no harm in being adventurous." Yeah, Nixter, that sounds about right. The full self-driving package is a sore spot for me, honestly. I really want Elon's timelines and prophecies to come to pass, at least all the ones about electric cars. We'll just focus on that for now. But unfortunately, year after year, his future vision has clouded his judgment on what is possible today. Now, I get it, the guy earns an inordinate amount of money because he thinks about the future all day long, but for us proletariats living in the present, the conflict of the two realizes a lot of friction. I myself never bought the full self-driving package, although I heavily considered it years ago when it was much cheaper, but I'm glad that I didn't get it. What I learned was that the package doesn't transfer with the purchase of a new Tesla vehicle and that it's trapped on the car that you bought it with. I felt cheated for even having believed that the full self-driving package would happen anywhere near that time frame a long time ago. This means that someone who sees the value in the future capability of those namesake features, well, it means that they have to time their vehicle purchase with the package actually coming to pass, or at least a whole lot closer. Now, I do realize that Tesla did make an exception for a brief window, but for this to be the standard practice of keeping it on the car and not allowing people to transfer it over, I just feel like Tesla is taking advantage of the most ardent and loyal customers they ever had. At one point, Tesla needed those dreamers and thinkers and maybe even a few of those rabid fanboys to buoy up what was seen as impossible ideas a long time ago. But after Tesla started skimming off the top of their first customers, I realized that Tesla doesn't need them anymore. Even after all these years, I still like Tesla, their products, and even some of the aspects of Elon's brazen leadership for the company. However, I'm starting to look at the future and wondering if the pigs will start to wear suits and walk on 2 feet. Thanks for watching Quick Charge. I'm Mikey G, and I hope you have a great day.